So as I head into Davos one last time for this year's annual World Economic Forum event, here is a reminder of all the ongoings this year. So what have we learned from this year's annual Bureaucracy Fest World Economic Forum annual event? Well, we've learned that the politicians and the bureaucrats don't really seem to be going along with the slogan, which is rebuilding trust, as they fail to answer some of the most simple yet most important questions. As you may be aware, this year's slogan is rebuilding trust, whereas I think the actual slogan for this year's annual World Economic Forum event should really be deciding your tomorrow. We have seen politicians, bureaucrats and medical experts sheepishly shy away from some of the most important questions when it comes to public health and this so-called up-and-coming disease X. Could you tell us what you think about vaccine mandates? Do you have an opinion on them? Do you think they work?
No.
Is that no, they don't work, or no, you don't wish to answer that question?
I'm late for a meeting, so I have to go.
That's right, we've got a few seconds. We've got a quick yes, no, if you've got it in you. No. Do you accept that vaccines have harmed and killed people, Mr. Berkey? Quite often in America they talk about securing the election. They never talk about fair and transparency. Is that an Orwellian doublespeak of they secured the victory? Because there is a lot of, well, anomalies when it comes to what's gone on in the last election. Lots of questions have been left unanswered. Lots of, you could call it, very black and white proof of electoral fraud. So when they talk about securing the election in the United States, is that an Orwellian thing? Can we get an answer there, please? It's actually quite well known in the scientific world that one of the chemicals in the shells of these bugs, called chitin, is toxic to the human body. So why are they pushing it if it is not for nefarious reasons? When do you plan on releasing Disease X? You know, Event 201 basically predicted this, well, it simulated the coronavirus pandemic before it happened, and then it came about. So, like, I've got a feeling you can't know when this Disease X is coming, which you keep talking about. Much like the famous story of the resurrection of Jesus, it appears we are seeing also the rise of Christianity once again, as Christians flocked to Davos to try and send positive messages towards the World Economic Forum, to try and make them see the error of their ways and actually use their power as a force for good for all humanity. But for me, the most important thing that I have learned this year compared to last year is that with the growing number of protests, it tells me that the vast majority of humanity is starting to wake up as to who exactly these bureaucrats at the World Economic Forum are. And hopefully, after my coverage and other independents that have come out here, even more people will see who they are and will start to ask independent questions themselves and start to do independent research. So that brings my coverage of this year's annual World Economic Forum event to a close. And I'd like to thank every single person who has donated to help make this trip possible. After all, this is completely independent media, and you can still donate now if you like and value the content that you have seen this week, because it will go towards future projects, whether that's my upcoming Ireland immigration documentary or the news that the mainstream media simply will not tell you. And you can do so at callumsmilesmedia.com, and if you want to recap on all the action you've seen this week, you can do so on Twitter at the hashtag CallumSmilesDavos. Again, at callumsmilesmedia.com, you can help to keep independent media alive.